Hello, and welcome to this series on eco-leadership. My name's David Berger, and welcome. Cold, wintry day. Wanted to do this talk about time and space and different ways of thinking about life and leadership and education and how we interact and work with other people. This one's titled A Million Years. Uh, um, First of all, just one thing about style. Here I am just talking to you, and if anyone feels inspired to get out a pen and paper and take some of these words and turn it into some cool diagram or picture thing, please do. Style is so important. How we do things really matters. Um, Einstein, everyone's heard of, talks about time and space and actually says time and space are part of the same thing, which is the space-time continuum. Believe it or not, for environmental thinking and environmental philosophy, space and time are really important. When you think about a pen uh, in space, you just think of kind of you and what you're going to do with it and how it relates to you or the world or stuff like that. When you think about this pen, plastic pen, in time, and you add time to you're thinking about it, you come to realize that in the past, say a couple of years ago or less, this pen was just part of the ground, part of oil, part different materials from wherever. And in the future, it's probably going to be back in the ground, but in a different configuration. So whenever you add time to something, and you're thinking about it, it comes from nature and it goes to nature. It comes from nature in the past and goes back to nature in the future. The question is just how long will it take? Not did it. We all came from space and cellular and matter and all over the place. So at some point we came similarly into this physical space, and sometime we're going to leave it. Uh, So another thing about people, Einstein too, we're dreamers. We continually run simulations of what's possible in the world, what's possible for ourselves, what's possible. Um, Something you've probably thought of, well, perhaps, I know I've thought of it sometimes, is if you had $1 million. There's that famous song, If I Had $1 Million. And when you're thinking well about your life, or when you want to dream big about your life, you kind of um, oh, my screen died. There. um, when you're thinking big about life, you think, if I had $1 million, what would I do with my life? How would I live? What kinds of things would I really be involved in? And I often consider that the phrase, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, which, yeah, life is about living and hopefully loving, mostly. Um, so in that sense, I want to talk about. So we often think about money giving us lots of possibilities to do stuff in in space in our world in our in normal human society. I want to just put the idea out there today about if you had 1 million years, what things would be way more important, what things would be less important. You could kind of play with that number when you afterwards and think about if you had 10 years, 1 year, 10 minutes, 10 million years, whatever, different numbers. So just some basic ideas about what would you do, how would you live if you had 1 million years to live. And a few considerations that came to me when I started to think about that is you'd probably be a lot more conscious of creating things like this, a pen that will survive. I think plastic will survive 1 million years. So we'd really ask the question: do we want to make 100 billion pens that are going to still be with us in a couple 100,000 years? We'd probably be a lot more conscious about process, things that we do every day. I know I've taught my kids to touch type because I figured if you put the energy into figuring out the way it works, for a little bit, you get a lot out of it. You save a lot of time in the long run. And if you had to do it for 1,000,000 years, you might put a bit more time into setting up that process so it works well for you. You might consider children a little more seriously. You'd be a little, I think, considering bringing someone into the world for 1,000,000 years would be a very big consideration. That's my thought. On the flip side, you might be a little more relaxed. You might kind of just say, "Oh, I have time." Maybe you'd enjoy the moment more. I'm not sure. Um, you probably think a little different about your purpose. And yet, the real dreamers in society put out big dreams and then know that other people are going to follow them through. Um, I want to make this really short and concise, so I think I'll end there. Just a thought: time is only this moment. We actually only have this moment. It's always a dream that we have the future, and a dream that we have the past. Sorry, and the future. Um, there's a phrase that I've heard that I think makes a lot of sense. The ego only lives in the past and the future. In the present, we are who we are. We've done what we've done, and things are as they are. So thank you for joining me, David Aubrey Berger. I have a book out there. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts about this, so please share them. And have a lovely day. Bye for now.